everyone, I'm Sandy Chong from the Australian Hairdressing Council, and I have a guest with me today called April Thomas, and she's a commercial lawyer. Now, as you know, I'm a hairdresser and I've had my own business for 39 years. And over that 39 years, I think I've certainly had my bad experiences, I guess, with clients who can be difficult or have been certainly a challenge. So April has developed these packs that are specifically for our industry, and they're incredibly invaluable, and I encourage you to look at them. Now, they will suit any business, whether you're a commercial salon or whether you're a single operator. These packs will be fantastic for you because they address some of the challenges that we have in running our businesses and dealing with our customers. So I'm going to hand over to April. The company is called Cherrypicka, and it's like, what is Cherrypicka and why did you actually, create Cherrypicka? So April, thank you for coming on board.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Hi, everyone. I'm April, as Sandy said. I am an experienced lawyer with 15 years experience, and in that time, I've come to realize that there are a lot of small businesses out there that really need legal advice and really need legal guidance, but they haven't got the money available to go and seek out that custom legal advice. So I created Cherrypicka, which is an online legal template provider with the benefit of being really industry focused. So we have partnered with the Australian Hairdressing Council and worked closely with you to put together this range of documents and online legal templates that will really help salon owners with some of the day-to-day issues that they face when running their business. I know you have your existing employment relationship, so these docs aren't covering the employment work. It's more, how do you deal with difficult customers? What are your obligations around refunds? Who owns the photos that employees take in my salon, and how do I enforce the ownership of those, as well as a few other things which we'll talk through today.
Thanks, April. And, when I've looked at the pack, I've looked at, some of these documents, and they are fantastic. So when you look at our industry, what are some of the top legal mistakes that you actually see salons making?
Yeah, Sandy, the way I'm going to talk through this is to sort of talk through the key mistakes that I'm seeing, and then we can talk about how you can best overcome those mistakes by using legal templates. So one of the first things that I think is important for all salons to do is really to set out the expectations up front with their customers at the time of booking. This is really important because it can cover things like, if you're requiring a deposit, what is the lead time or the notice time that the person has to cancel their appointment, or otherwise their deposit is forfeited? If they don't show up, what happens to their deposit? If they're really late for the appointment, what happens to their deposit? And I think at times when, at the moment, cash flow is a real issue for salons, getting that deposit to secure bookings is actually a really sensible idea, but it does have to be done compliantly by explaining those booking terms. Other things that you can set out in your booking T's and C's relate to gift cards. So what is the expiry of those, whether or not products are redeemable by gift cards, and something that you raised, Sandy, around, the charity gift cards that salons often generously donate. What is the expiry on those? And you've indicated that is better to be a shorter period. Other things you can have in your booking T's and C's is disclaimers around colours. So whilst you'll do everything in your due care and skill to create a beautiful colour for your client, some things are out of your control. When they step away, what type of shampoos they use can impact the colour. So just setting all those things up front, as well as just general etiquette points around the use of phones, children being welcome, but keeping them entertained through, using tablets and the like, so as not to disrupt other customers, and just, setting these things out really clearly at the start. Another thing a good booking T's and C's will have is a consent in there, that if you are asking your clients to take photos of them, that you're allowed to use those photos in your marketing and promotional purposes, which is very important in this day and age when privacy is a real issue for a lot of people. That deals with booking T's and C's. Did you have any questions on that one, Sandy, or should I keep going?
I was going to ask, because everything that you just said then is actually what happens on a day-to-day basis in every salon, especially when it comes to clients with unrealistic expectations. So, you know, when it comes to having a document that they sign where the brief is actually agreed upon, everything down to like the deposits. And, you know, what happens though when we do have a client that's sort of not very nice to our staff, let's say, and you really don't want them back? Do you have things like that in the pack that can help us with those kind of challenging clients that you're very uncomfortable taking care of, I guess?
Yeah, that's a great question. And an excellent segue into two other documents in the pack. The first is a risk acknowledgement form. And I think that relates to the point you said, you know, sometimes you get those clients, and I've had a few hairdressers say they just get that gut feel that this client might be a little bit difficult, and they're requesting a service such as, you know, a drastic colour change. The best thing to do in that situation is to document the discussion that you've had around that service. So we've created a risk acknowledgement form, which allows you to document what the risks are and that you've explained those, the cost. And that's particularly important, especially when the service might take a few treatments. You know, you don't want there to be any surprises at the end. And also any other things that could impact the outcome, such as, you know, existing colours lying beneath the surface, the products that they're using at home and the like. So just for peace of mind, you can ask clients to sign that so it's all documented. Now, you're still always going to get those disgruntled clients, but at least if you are taken to fair trading, for example, you know, you have a record of exactly what was said to them at the time before the service was undertaken.
Sorry, I was going to say, well, that then tells me, I mean, I think that many of us have had a client like that who's disgruntled, even though we've made it very clear that something's not possible. So what happens though if we've got all that in place, and what if I need more advice on the documents, or, you know, just legal advice generally?
Yeah, if you need legal advice generally, through Cherrypicka, we have an ability to find a lawyer, and we're connecting through to a fabulous platform which is run by a legal marketplace called Legally Yours. So you can jump onto that marketplace, you can put the kind of request that you have, and it will connect you with various lawyers around the country that could be able to assist you on a fixed fee basis, so you know that you're not going to get any surprises at the end.
Okay, that's amazing. Go on.
Shall I just talk through some of the other the documents that I've got available on the website as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because every one of them, I know that you and I have spoken about as to why that is so necessary for our businesses. So yeah, please go ahead and tell us what's in the pack.
Fantastic. So termination letter, I think you alluded to that before as well, Sandy. So sometimes you might have a customer that every time they come into the salon, I think you had this experience, they were rude, they were, you know, upsetting staff, or they're upsetting other customers, and you just want to break up with them nicely, and you want to document that. So we've created a termination letter, I guess, that you can send to clients with some guidance around language to say, you know, what the conduct was, you know, how it's impacted the salon, i.e. it's, you know, made the staff feel uncomfortable, and that you've requested that they find an alternative hairdresser, and you've, you know, cancelled their future appointments. So we've got the template language in there. It's not such a legal letter, but it is just a nice to have in your suite of templates as a salon owner. The other document that we created, and again, this was based on a lot of industry feedback, in fact, from my own hairdresser as well. And she told me one of the big issues they have is your employees are taking photos of their clients a lot. You need a policy in place that says very clearly to those employees that when they leave your salon, they don't own those photos. So they can't then take those photos and use them in their portfolios. And they certainly can't use them as example of work that they've done when they join a new salon. You own the intellectual property in that, and this policy clearly states that and gets your staff to acknowledge that as well. The other thing that this policy does, I think, you know, in an age where we are constantly using social media, is it explains to your staff around how they can represent themselves on social media as part of your salon, what they can say, and gives you the ability to ask them to remove things if it's, you know, disparaging or doesn't fit within the ethos of your salon as well. And it also explains that it's the responsibility of every staff member to get the consent of clients before you taking their photos for before and afters. And just some free legal advice today is, unless you really need to, I wouldn't be posting pics of children, because that comes with a range of other consent issues. And that's all set out in the policy as well. So there's another couple of docs. There is two final docs in the pack. One is for engaging social media influencers. So I know a lot of salons are doing contrast. So, you know, exchange for services for some various posts on Instagram. I've heard a lot of instances where these relationships just don't go well and the influencer doesn't hold up their end of the bargain. So by having an agreement in place, and it's a really simple 2-page agreement, it doesn't overcomplicate things, but you're documenting what the influencer is getting and what you expect from the influencer. The funniest example that I have is a salon had asked an influencer to post a picture of their hair, you know, and tag the salon, which she did, and then removed it the next day. And because they didn't have that agreement in place, you know, she'd technically done what she was supposed to. But this agreement would say, for example, no, you have to keep the post up if it's a static post. And then the final one, and this is it's not an obligatory document, but I think in this day and age when customers are wanting to know how you're using their personal information, we also have included a privacy policy, which tells your customers what information you collect and how you use it. And the biggest watch out for salon owners here, I'd say, is only collect the information you need. Please don't ask customers for, you know, detailed health history. If you don't need it, don't keep it, because if you get a hack situation, you know, you're potentially revealing a lot of information about customers that you just don't need to have. So that policy is available through the site as well. So no wonder I'm tired. I've been very busy.
Do you know how many documents you've actually got in the pack? Because I mean, even what you just went through there, like every one of us have wanted to terminate a client, you know, that's great. And I know that with the AHC, we get many queries about who owns the photos, because, you know, employees leave, and I've even had their parents contact us and have a go, because it's like, you know, they took the photo, they did the hair, they own the photo. It's like, no, they don't.
No.
And, you know, when it comes to social media and the influencers, like we've all been there. So again, these documents are really going to be valuable. So do you know how many documents are in the pack? Because
oh gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I've got seven docs in the pack. The docs can also be purchased separately. It is better value to buy them in the pack.
yeah.
But if you do want to cherry pick a document out, like you just need the influencer agreement, you can buy them as single documents as well.
So with the AHC, we'll obviously have a link to you, but how much is the pack too? It'll be on your website, or?
Yeah, it's got, the pricing will all be available on the website. But the good news is, because we've worked so closely with you, Sandy, and your team in putting this pack together, we are offering a discount for AHC members. And I believe that you'll be emailing the members with that information as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Well, thank you so much, April. And it's been fantastic working with you and working on, you know, like the day-to-day challenges that every one of us in business actually does have. Yes, with our staff, but especially with the clients who are a challenge and have those unrealistic expectations, or certainly the ones that we want to terminate, you know, in a very nice way, without it becoming, so stressful. So it's great to have those documents at our fingertips. So thank you again for putting these together, and thanks for coming on and explaining them all.
Thank you so much, Sandy.